afternoon. I pray everybody is doing well. We're going to be talking about hydration. We're going to be talking about oil. We're going to be talking about hair growth. We're going to be talking about moisture. All these different things, they are all important. My kiddo is running around. He's watching Paw Patrol, but he might run in here. So, and also, I need my hair done. So, don't worry about that either. But let's jump into this conversation because I have been realizing along this journey of starting to give holistic scalp and hair care that a lot of people, just like myself, I was misinformed. And with me being misinformed, I believed things that I didn't take the time out to understand fully before I believed them. You know, your faith in things comes by what you hear a lot of times. Sometimes you don't even need to see something work. You can just hear about it and you might believe it simply because you heard it. That's how rumors get started. That's why they're so powerful, rumors, because once a person hears something, they liable to believe it, and then take that to somebody else, and maybe that person won't believe it. Maybe that person will be a more holistic person and take the time to do some research and check into it and see, like, is this really what the case is? Because that's what being holistic is all about. So in me diving into holistics with hair care, I've taken the time out to kind of go check into stuff. Like, let's go see what this is really all about, because sometimes we just take stuff, we hear it, and our faith is activated, and we think, oh, okay, well, they said it's gonna do this, so it must go. So that's where we are with oil. I'm not here to talk down on oil. All right, I sell an oil, my fractionated coconut oil. It's very lightweight. It looks like water. I sell an oil, so I'm not here to talk down on oils. However, I am here to educate about what an oil really is, what moisture really is, what a moisturizer really is, oils and hair growth, how the hair grows, all of that. We're gonna break it down. So let's start from the beginning. Hair grows on its own, okay? It is a living organ. It functions on its own. It's a part of like our everything else. Our skin, our hair, everything is alive. And it's all running its own function. Every part of your body is alive. And it's running and serving a purpose for your entire being. So when it comes to your hair, it's very much alive. And it's very much so growing on its own. Let's start there. Let's start with hair grows on its own. So when we talk about like oils to grow the hair, and even with what I do to grow the hair, I don't grow people's hair. What I do is I help to increase the growth rate of people's hair. So what I do is I speed up the process. Growth oils, my thing about growth oils is that a lot of them promise to grow your hair, but honestly, your hair is growing on its own. And if it weren't, you wouldn't have no hair, because from the time that we born, we would be losing hair constantly and consistently if it didn't grow on its own. We don't need an oil to make our hair grow. An oil serves a very specific purpose, and you don't need it to make your hair grow. You don't need an oil to moisturize to hydrate your scalp. An oil is a moisturizer, but it is not hydration. So we have to, hey, how you doing? We have to talk about what hydration is, because something that I'm noticing is that when we go looking for oils, what we're really looking for is hydration. You say, my scalp is dry, my skin is dry, my hair is dry, I need an oil. Somewhere, some way along the lines, like, we have developed the thought that oil means hydration. Because if something is dry, we looking to hydrate it. We need it to absorb some water, some moisture, some H2O if something is dry. If you thirsty, the last thing that you're gonna go do is drink a bottle of oil. So if you feel like your throat is dry, your body needs hydration, you're gonna go grab some water to hydrate yourself. You're not gonna go grab some oil. So when it comes to our scalp and feeling like, oh, well, my scalp is dry, so I need to put an oil on it, that oil is not what's going to hydrate your skin. And oil is meant to be a lubricant to lock in moisture on top of the skin, which means you need the moisture first. You need the water first. If you feel like your scalp is quote unquote dry, you need hydration. You don't need an oil. And then you definitely don't need an oil to make your hair grow. Random question, but do you like Eminem and 50 Cent? I actually like both of them. If I had to pick my favorite now, I'm going with M. But I actually like both of them. I'm going to say, I like Producer 50. I like what 50 is doing with TV and entertainment. I like that version of him. Rapper 50, it's a couple of his hits that I still, but I'll listen to M all day. All day. All day, yeah. Who should I be for Halloween? I don't know. I don't fool with Halloween, so you should be whoever you feel like it's best for you to be. Yes. Yeah. 50, he's straight with the TV. I like that on him. That's good on him. I'm excited. I think Eminem, he in the studio doing some work, getting some new stuff coming. I'm excited. I like him. I've always liked him. He's a different breed. And back to hair care and hair oils. So with these growth oils, and I'm not trying to bust nobody up. I know that we all out here on a hustle. Okay, we all out here trying to make ends meet. We all out here trying to make money. But the hair growth stuff with the oils is I'm gonna tell you what I've learned, and then I'm gonna let y'all make your own decisions. So let me just lay out the facts for you. So that way it's not like I'm telling you to do something or I'm telling you have to, like, no, I'm just gonna inform you. Here come my baby. Let me see what's going on. What's funny? What you laughing at, Paw Patrol? It was that funny? Marshall is so silly. So is Eli. So is Eli. Okay, so let me tell y'all what I've learned. Oil. So silly. Yes, you silly. That's so funny. It's so funny. Boy, you so funny. He had to come tell me about Marshall. Okay, what I've learned about oil. I'm gonna take my glasses off. Y'all, all right. Oil is a lubricant. So we put it on our skin and it gives us shine. That shine causes us to feel like we're hydrated, like we are no longer dry, because whatever was on our skin that caused us to appear dry, that is now covered up with a lubricant that has added shine, it's added increased shine to our skin, to our scalps, okay? Your hair at its base, at its root, is deep down in your third level of tissue, of your skin tissue. So it's at your hypodermis. That's where your bulb starts. From your bulb goes the follicle. The follicle goes up into your second layer, which is your dermis. All right, when we put oil on top of our scalp, the scalp, what we can see, that's your top layer. That's your epidermis. That oil may or may not, depending on what oil it is, it may or may not penetrate the epidermis. But if it does penetrate the epidermis, it's not going past the dermis and it's not going down to the hypodermis. The hypodermis is what gives your hair bulb all the nutrients that it needs to grow. This is why I say your hair grows on its own. There is a system in place to function without you doing nothing, okay? When we do extra stuff to our hair, we affect how our system is functioning. All right, so we can either do things for the better or we can do things that's going to hinder that growth that we already got going on naturally in our sublayer and our hypodermis. Now, you talking about putting an oil on top of your scalp to quote unquote increase your hair growth. The only way that I feel like an oil will increase hair growth is if you use an actual hot oil treatment. And the reason I say that is because the hot oil is going to do a stimulation effect to your scalp. That's why when we used to do hot oil treatments back in the day, people had healthy hair. It was way down a little bit. It was shiny. But it was also growing. You know what I'm saying? But that don't mean just because it's growing that it's hydrated. So we also have to think about the fact that our hair grows on its own, whether it's hydrated or not. So adding oil to it is not going to hydrate it. And the only way that I can see it expediting hair growth is by using heat, which the heat is going to stimulate the scalp. It's not even the oil that's really doing something. It's the fact of the warmth mixed with the oil that's going to do something for the scalp. So I'm saying this to say, it's a lot of people out here selling hair growth oil. And they showing y'all these pictures of people going a few months using this product. And I want you, next time you thinking about going to go buy some hair growth oil, I want you to ask yourself a couple questions. One, do you understand like what an oil is supposed to do? That's question number one, because if you don't understand that an oil is supposed to moisturize, you'll let somebody tell you that an oil is going to hydrate you. Oils don't have hydration. They don't. We know water and oil don't mix. So you got to ask yourself if you know what an oil really does and what you're looking for it to do. I had a client ask me yesterday if oil is bad. Oil itself is not a bad thing. It's just made for a specific purpose. I want you to ask yourself if you understand what that purpose is before you go looking to buy a hair growth oil to try to help your hair grow. Two, I want you to think about how long you've been experiencing hair loss. Have you given your hair time for it to grow on its own? And if you have given it its time to grow on its own, have you took the time to identify what's preventing your hair from doing what it's supposed to do on its own, which is grow? So I just told y'all that your hair grows on its own. So if you feel like you've lost hair and that hair is not being replaced, the question is what's going on? Then I want you to ask yourself a third question. If you have lost hair and you're looking for hair growth and you think about the fact that you have pores on top of your skin, which is your scalp, and your hair comes up from this pore, I want you to ask yourself, is clogging my pore going to help my hair grow up from that pore? Because a oil, you have to think about it like oil is the same how they stick to us when we eat. Oil sticks to you. It's a lubricant. It sticks. That's what an oil does. So when you put it on top of your pore, is that helping the hair that's underneath your pore, because it's already growing from sublevel, from your hypodermis? Is that pushing that hair up? Is that helping with that? Or is it hindering? I want you to ask yourself that, because when you take the time to do something holistically, you take the time to do a little research and to think about what you're doing, how it's working, and how it's affecting as a whole. Am I saying that hair oil is bad? No. I'm saying it's not necessary for growth of the hair. And I'm also saying that it does not hydrate the skin or the scalp, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's bad. So I'm saying if you're going to use it, I want you to understand why you're using it. And I want you to understand what it's really doing for you. Your scalp, if you feel like your scalp is dry, needs hydration. And it's your skin that needs hydration. Y'all know what I hydrate with. I use my water. So for me, that is my hydration. For my clients, that is their hydration. When they come in for scalp and hair care services, they don't leave with dry scalps. And I ain't never put a drop of oil on now client scalp. They don't leave with dry scalps because their skin is not dry. Our skin gets to a point where we need to absorb hydration. We're low on hydration, on moisture. Moisture is in the air, not in a bottle. Moisture is water. So when it's humid outside, that's moisture. And the hair strand swells because water makes our hair swell. It makes the hair strand swell. If your hair strand is absorbing water, it's like filling up the hair strand and it swells. That's why we get poofy and we think, oh no, I'm poofy. You know what I'm saying? That's because of the water. So never let somebody tell you that an oil is going to hydrate your skin, your hair, because that's somebody that don't either know what they're talking about, or that's somebody that's trying to lie to you to get you to buy into their product because they want you to purchase what they got. And that's just what that is. And that's what a lot of these hair brands have done with these products. They take words and they trick them, and they know that your average person is not going to go either to the dictionary straight up. Somebody taught me that, and it's always stuck with me. Go look some stuff up. Even the most basic words that you think you already understand. Go look up the definition of hydration. Then go look up the definition of moisture. And then go look up the definition of a moisturizer. What you'll find is that all three got different definitions. My baby crying. 1 second. What's wrong? You hit your head. How you hit your head? Hey. Are you okay? You okay? Well then don't cry. We okay. Yeah, breathe. What was you doing? Was you flipping off the bed and stuff? Uh-huh. I know you was. So maybe not flip off the bed so that you don't hurt yourself, okay? I'm glad you're okay. Sorry. Okay, so going back to that, if you go look up the definition of hydration, moisture, and moisturization, you'll realize that all three are different. And you'll also realize that hydration and moisture are the closest, because hydration has to do with absorbing water, and moisture is water or some other liquid, so they say, but it's water. It be mixed in with other things, because even rainwater is not pure water because it catches stuff as it's coming down, so it's not pure anymore. That's a whole, the water thing is a deep thing, and you have to really go deep into, man, the role that water plays. Water is essential for our lives, for our bodies, for our hair, for hydration. So whenever you're feeling like you dry and you need something, I promise you what you need is hydration. And if you don't know where to get it and you need it for your hair, contact me. I got the sauce for that. When it comes to growth, I just want us to remember that our hair grows on its own. All right? Your hair grows on your own. If you want to expedite growth, I just want you to think about if you were growing a garden. Ask yourself, would you pour some oil on your garden? Simple. If you don't take away nothing else from this live, take away that. If you grow in a garden, because your hair is like a garden. If you grow in a garden, would you water your garden with oil so that your crops can grow? Is that what you would feel like would grow your crops? And when you ask yourself that, you think about that, and you use that to help you decipher if you really need to buy something that's supposed to grow your hair, but it's an oil. So what is that oil going to do besides sit on top of your skin and clog your pores? Now, if you have hydration, but hydration don't got nothing to do with growth. That's one thing that I'm just go ahead and put out there, like, hydration don't got nothing to do with growth. My water hydrates, it don't grow the hair. So if you come in and get the My Water experience, or you come in and we use My Water on your hair, but we don't do no scalp care, guess what? Your growth ain't gonna be expedited because we use My Water. My Water hydrates. That's what My Water does. My Water also removes impurities left behind from the products and the chemicals that are in our shampoos, and that's also in the tap water. So My Water restores the hair, hydrates the hair, restores the skin, hydrates the skin. That is what causes our skin to water. What's in water on its own is what causes your skin to have like a dry appearance. Notice you only get ashy when you done been in some water. So with that being said, you don't need an oil to hydrate. An oil is a moisturizer. Oils are meant to moisturize, and moisturizing has nothing to do with, well, I'm going to say humidity. Moisture has something to do with hair growth, because feeding your scalp, you know what I'm saying, and feeding your hair what it needs, which is hydration, will help, but it's not going to expedite your hair growth in a massive way. It takes scalp care. Like coming in and just do the My Water experience on its own without any scalp care, just using the product on the hair, it's not going to expedite anybody's hair growth. I've never said that it does. So I just want us to be clear on the products that we're using, why we're using them, and what they really do, because it's easy to be misinformed and misled out here. An oil, unless it's warm, it's not going to do nothing to stimulate the scalp, and the scalp is what produces the growth. It's the tissue, the skin tissue, that houses where your growth is really happening. What we're doing with the hair that's on our heads is trying to retain length, but our hair has already begun to grow underneath our skin, underneath the dermis and epidermis. It's already growing. So when it sprouts out from our heads and becomes a hair strand, at that point, we're trying to maintain length. We're trying to keep our length steady stretching. But in order for that to happen, we got to keep the growth going on up under what we can see. We got to keep that going. And that's the part where I'm saying an oil, I promise you, is not penetrating all three levels of your skin tissue to get down to your hypodermis, which is where your hair bulb is, which is where your growth starts. Even if it's hot, it may penetrate the epidermis, because the heat is going to open stuff up. It's going to open your cuticles and stuff up. Your pores is going to be open. So that oil may penetrate the epidermis, but then it's going to excrete back out. And oil, when it excretes out on our hair, it just weighs our hair down. That's why we look poofy and kind of stuck. It weighs, it literally, you know. So if you're going to use an oil, I use my oil on hair for control. If I need to control the hair, form the hair, make it lay down, I want it weighed down, that's what I use an oil for. It's to weigh things down. It's to lubricate them. It's to add something to, like, you add an oil to your skin, it's going to add a layer of lubrication to your skin. You add an oil to your scalp, it's going to add a layer of lubrication to your scalp. But our pores are open, so you know, if you put some oil, just the same way you do with your skin, you have to understand that your scalp is a reflection of your skin. So let's break it down and take the time to think about, you done put all this oil on your scalp, right? Say you're the type of person that oil your scalp on a day-to-day basis, or even maybe a weekly basis, and you done put this oil on your scalp. Then you go, I think a typical answer for how long people go without washing their hair is maybe about 3 weeks. We're talking about people of color. We're not just talking about regular people. We're talking about people of color. We sometimes go 3 to 4 weeks. I don't know more, but sometimes we go 3 to 4 weeks without shampooing our hair. So you put this oil on top of your skin because your scalp is a part of your skin, and you ain't got it off. So what do you think has happened to your pores on top of your scalp? You got to ask yourself that. And the way that you can ask yourself that is by testing it on your face or your skin, your body. Put moisturizer, oil, Vaseline, moisturizer, whatever you like to use on your skin every day and never take it off. And continue to do that, whether you do it on a day-to-day basis or you do it on a weekly basis. And then go 3 weeks without washing your face. Go 3 weeks without bathing your body. And then see how what results you get. That is going to let you know exactly what's happening when you do it to your scalp. Because just because you have hair on your scalp doesn't change the fact that your scalp is still a part of your skin. So you should treat it the same way that you kind of treat the rest of your skin on your body. If you wouldn't go 3 weeks without taking a bath, you shouldn't go 3 weeks without shampooing your hair. If you wouldn't go 3 weeks without washing your face, you shouldn't go 3 weeks with putting something on top of your scalp and not washing it off. That's not a recipe for healthy hair growth. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I feel like I'm bringing good news because I can free y'all a little bit, you know what I'm saying? From going and spending your money on products that aren't doing for you what you believe that they're doing for you. Your hair is growing on its own. And I think, honestly, that sometimes using it, we won't know unless we would have to experiment. You would have to go a set amount of time without using anything, and then go a set amount of time with using an oil, and then literally side by side compare the two to know what's working or not. The thing about using a hair growth oil in the way that people document is that you have no idea what's going on before that oil was being used. So then you don't know if this hair is growing because it's growing on its own, or if it's growing because now this oil has been used. Like, don't nobody document, I'm just saying, don't nobody document the amount of time that a person was going bald headed. Let's say that. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you had that hair loss, wherever you were, thinning, balding, whatever the case may be, nobody is documenting that amount of time and then showing a documented time using this oil and showing this is how my hair growth rate was before I began using oil, and this is how my hair growth rate was after I started using this oil. People show you the starting point of the damage, and then they show you that they've been using this product, and then they say that the product made the hair grow. But I just told you that your hair grows at least 1/4 to an inch to 3/4 of an inch every single month. It's growing on its own. So how do we really know? You see what I'm saying? That's why when my clients come in, I document. We take the time out to see what was your hair doing. We gonna see, we showing from ground zero what it was doing. And then I don't use nothing. So we know that no product is responsible for this growth because I don't use nothing on nobody's scalp. And the scalp is what takes place where the hair growth takes place. I don't use nothing on nobody's scalp. I just exfoliate and detox the scalp, which is what increases the hair growth rate. The hair is growing on its own. What I'm showing is you went from this length to this length in this amount of time without using not a lick of oil. That we all be shooketh. Like, dang, look at your hair, it's done sprouted. That's what really opened up my eyes to realize, no, this is not needed. I too used to be, that's why I'm such a fanatic about it and spreading this good gospel, this good hair gospel, because I used to really believe that, oh, you just need some good oil. Oh, you just need a good conditioner. Oh, you just need a little protein, crack an egg, mix it in with your conditioner, put it on top of your hair, put your oil in there. You don't got to do all that. And I realized that you don't have to do all that because I'm not doing that. And these clients are sprouting. They're sprouting because their hair already grows. What I'm doing is clearing off any and everything that's on top of their scalp every 2 weeks. And I'm giving them a deep cleanse. So these ladies that were going 3 and 4 weeks without shampooing their hair, they're not going 3 and 4 weeks no more. That also has an effect on hair growth. If you're not shampooing what you putting on your scalp, on your skin, on your hair, it's definitely going to affect your hair growth. You ain't going to be, it's not going to grow as fast as it could grow. Is what I'm going to say. Because you're clogging the skin and you're not removing what you're clogging it with. You produce the nutrients that you need from Sub-Zero, from your hypodermis. You just, boy, you and this remote gonna pain me. How many times you gonna go find it after I put it up? Like, if you leave it alone, the TV will play on its own.
Thanks, Mommy.
Ah, you're welcome. Your hair grows on its own, y'all. It grows from the hypodermis, and whatever oil you put on top of your scalp is not penetrating your epidermis, your dermis, and then get into your hypodermis. So with that being said, the nutrients that you need to grow your hair, it's already happening underneath what you can even see. Your hair is not, what you see is, how can I say it? It's like delayed kind of growth, because even when you see new growth from the roots, right? So like when my clients come in 2 weeks, typically they have new growth at the roots, and we like, oh, you done grew in these 2 weeks. They have grown, but what we see at the scalp is not even the bulk of the growth, because there's also growth happening underneath what we can even see. So with that being said, ain't no oil needed to penetrate that. First off, ain't no oil penetrating that deep. Most oils don't even penetrate the epidermis. It's only a select few that can penetrate the epidermis. If it penetrates the epidermis, it's gonna be excreted back out just like our sebum that we produce naturally on our own. What's funny?
That's so silly.
They so silly.
That's so silly.
What they do?
So silly.
What they do?
That's so silly.
You silly too. Boy, if you don't let me get through my live, let me get through my live. Let me get through my live. Dang. Only child, so it'd be like that when you only got one and you all they got. So I'm gonna wrap this up. Because he's not gonna let me make it no way. I just want to leave you guys with that. I want to leave you with one. If you were growing a garden, which you can consider your hair like a garden, would you water your garden with an oil? That's question number one. You would water it, I'm sure, with water. And I got the water that you need. But I want you to also ask yourself, knowing that growth that happens underneath what you can actually see, and that there's 3 levels of skin tissue that has to be penetrated in order for an oil to reach where the growth starts. Go and look up on Google if oil can penetrate all 3 levels of your skin tissue. Once you get that answer, I want you to determine for yourself if you feel like you need a hair growth oil or not. I'm gonna get off live because my baby, he's letting me not make it at this point. He wants my attention and he is climbing on things and he's about to get loud. So we'll revisit this more because I really want to help the mindsets to understand what these products are and what they do, and then also to understand what your hair do on its own. A lot of times we try to add to ourselves in ways that honestly it don't be helping, it be hindering, So that's my spiel. You wouldn't water your garden with an oil, so don't feel like you need to water your scalp or your hair with an oil. And 2, in order for growth to happen, it has to start at the hypodermis, which is your most inner layer of skin tissue. So go look up on Google if hair growth oil, if any oil can penetrate all the way down to the hypodermis. And I will see y'all later because it's getting there. So y'all have a great Sunday, and I will see y'all later. Eli.